So you guys have been requesting this deck profile for a while. And the funny thing is, I looked around YouTube, there's not a lot of options for this deck. The fact that not that many people give the deck a chance or play it, but I'm Slim, I love Alistair and friends, anything Alistair brings to the table, so I got you guys. We're going to profile Pure Invoked. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You'll also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. The link is in the description. The usual spiel. So, Pure Invoked is kind of hard to describe because the Invoked engine is not that big. But when we're talking about Pure Invoked, we're talking about the Invoked engine, which is Alistair and friends, and then basically a plethora of hand traps. Every hand trap that could possibly do well this format. So I hope you guys enjoy. This has been highly requested. If you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these. It really helps out a lot, and I do appreciate it. Let's get into it. Pure Invoked deck profile. They haven't touched Alistair and friends yet, so you are able to play this. I'm going to explain my hand trap choices as well because that's where this deck will differentiate from player to player. But this is my personal take on the list. Like I said, there's not a lot of lists to go off of online. There was one really good list that topped a regional months and months and months ago, and that was about it. So I based my list off of that and changed a couple things, but let's hop into it. So of course, the bread and butter of your deck, your engine is literally Alistair. There is no other engine. It is just Alistair. Alistair is your normal summon. Alistair is everything. Alistair by itself is a one-card Macabre. Alistair can become any of the Invoke monsters you want. Obviously, we're going second deck because we play so many hand traps, but Alistair is literally your bread and butter. As long as this card is still in the game, I am still going to play Alistair.deck, Alistair and Mech Knights, Alistair and whatever. But this is Pure Invoke, so you're really relying on Alistair. You do your best to just see this card. We play every consistency card we can for it, and the card is just amazing. So this is the bread and butter of the deck. Don't really need to explain that. Now the hand traps. This is where it's really going to get interesting. So the whole point of this deck is stop your opponent from playing. We got triple rock. We've got triple Phantasme. We've got triple Ash Blossom. We've got triple Effect Veiler. We have the Gamma Driver package. And our only trap in the deck, you guys guessed it, our only trap in the deck is an actual hand trap. Infinite Impermanence. Okay, so now I gotta explain some things. So this whole deck is based around hand traps. You hand trap your opponent, stop them from playing, stop them from getting advantage, and you capitalize with Alistair and friends as well as some of the other cards that are in this deck. So you guys are probably wondering, okay, why this particular hand trap lineup? It shouldn't come as a surprise, but we'll break them down real quick. Nibiru, obviously one of the best hand traps this particular format. It wasn't the best before because so many players could play around it. Players can still play around it, however, very good against the Rock deck, very good against Synchro Eldritch, very good against any deck that just wants to wombo combo off, summon more than 5 times. You try to stop them. Heroes, another deck that this card really does well against. I feel you need this card, this format. At worst, it's a light for Macabre. I've said this a million times in other videos where I play Nibiru. Nibiru has multiple applications. This card is just very important because you need to stop these decks from just going crazy. This is kind of our pseudo-maxi of the format. Some people have mentioned this. Obviously, it doesn't draw you cards, but it does hinder your opponent and take away their advantage as best it can. Like I said, some decks can play around it, but it is still, without a doubt, one of the best hand traps this format. Next is Phantasme. So we all thought this card wasn't going to see a lot of play. I was one of those people. I was an idiot. This card is still amazing. Every deck Link summons, every deck that can play Hali Fibrax, that can play Link Ross is going to do it. Phantasme is amazing because you can, number 1, put a body on the board, number 2, draw cards, and number 3, fix your hand. That's super important because you need to be able to do that in order to do well with this deck, this format. I think Phantasme is amazing in this deck. Since Alistair is really your only normal summon, this at least puts another body on the board, and that's very important. So I feel Phantasme is definitely one of the best cards you can play this format. Next, I've got triple Ashe. This shouldn't come as a surprise. This is the most generic hand trap around. I don't really know what else to say. You just need it. The card's good. There's always something you can Ashe. Granted, it is a once per turn, but it is what it is. Ashe is still really important in every format. You need to have every possible good hand trap at your disposal, and Ashe has proven itself to be one of the best hand traps of pretty much every format. It's generic, and it will always hit something. Along the lines of generic, I have triple Effect Veiler. So I went back and forth with this and DD Crow. Everyone knows I love the homie DD Crow. It's not even close. However, I had to really analyze this format, and I thought about DD Crow, and I thought, okay, what have I been using DD Crow for? and Emancipator, not really. Sure, if it can hit the Block Dragon, which is awesome. However, they can just summon it from hand. The only thing I liked about that was being able to crow it away. Problem is, these decks are playing 3 copies. The card is still at 3. It is a problem. However, the first card in my side deck is Triple DD Crow. I'm letting you know right now. Triple DD Crow is definitely in the side deck. It was very hard to shrink this deck down to 40. I wanted to play more hand traps. The thing is, this deck has to be at 40 cards because you have to see Alistair since it is your normal summon. What I like about Valor is you can use more. It's similar to Crow in the sense that you can use more than one a turn. Not only that, you can also use it as a light from Akaba, and it also can just stop your opponent from playing. Being able to Valor, Imperm, any of that on the Aurora Dawn or any of their combo plays is super important. So I really, really, really like Valor. Valor at worst, similar to Ashe, you can normal summon it, turn it into Almirage. Rarely you want to do that, but if it does come up, it does come up. I felt Valor was just more impactful this particular format. And then lastly, I have the Gamma Driver package. This is still, in my opinion, one of the best hand traps in the game. It's a very high risk, high reward card, obviously, because you play the brick that's Driver, but other than that, this card is nuts, just stops anything. So I really, really like this card. And then Triple Impermanence. I think this is one of the best hand traps of the format. Just so good. You can draw it as your 6th card, and it can still do something. Can't be called by the grave. It's honestly one of the best hand traps you can play. So I really, really like this this hand trap lineup. I feel all these hand traps are essential. You can play other cards like Ghost Ogre, Ghost Mortar, Ghost Bell, depending on your preference. But for me and for this particular build, this is what I decided on. So that's it for all the monsters and the hand traps. Now on to the rest of the deck. Obviously, we're just trying to get to Alistair, so you've got to play, of course, Triple Meltdown. That's standard, along with Triple Invocation. There's multiple reasons we play Triple Invocation. You hard draw it. It's really good. We play Desires in this deck. You just need to be able to see this card. I think this card is just amazing. Not once per turn, so you can really get a lot of monsters on the board. Searching it off of Mad Invoker is important too, so there's all those applications. Now, I finally listened to you guys, and hopefully you guys do enjoy it. I decided to go with a full copies, 3 copies of Pot of Desires. So I have always been an advocate for 2 copies in a lot of decks. I feel it's really hard to justify playing the 3rd. However, this is a deck where you play so many 3-ups, you can get away with it. You do need to be able to see your Alistair, and you need to be able to see this card in order to do that sometimes. You just need to rip through your deck and get to what you need to. Worst case scenario, you banish all the invocations, you banish all the Alistairs, you have no real grind game. Well, there's another way to win with this deck that you guys will see, but Pot of Desires is just really important. It's a draw 2. It's one of the best cards in the game and one of the best cards in the deck. So I decided to finally listen to you guys and play 3. So for everyone in the comments who always tells me to play 3, I get it. It's really hard for me to justify playing 3, but I do see why you guys will decide to play 3, that it's necessary to see your cards. So that's why we decided to do that. Unfortunately, we are going 2nd deck, so you do have to play Triple Lightning Storm. You can play Triple Cyclone if you want, or some other form of spell and trap removal. I chose Lightning Storm because it's just an absolute blowout. It also is a Raigeki for attack position monsters. I think decks like this just need a blowout card like this. You need to be able to combat back row. Altergeist is back at full power, basically. So you got to be able to just stop all their pesky traps and play from there. So I can't really tell you guys like not to play this card. If you have Cyclone or any other alternative, that's what you can play. But I myself chose Lightning Storm because I feel it's just the better card. This particular format. Now, this is the hardest thing for me to put in a deck profile. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I saw this idea on the other deck profile that played this deck. I didn't want to do it. I tested every possibility, and then I tried this out, and it was actually bullshit. Like, it was literally bullshit how good it was. We are playing Triple Mystic Mine. Do not dislike the video because we're playing Triple Mystic Mine. I don't like this card. You guys know this. The reason why we are playing it though is because this deck is nothing but a normal summon Alistair deck. The opponent can put up 50 million negates and we'll try to stop them, but sometimes it's not enough. Mystic Mine can steal you a game. There's no way around it. I hate using that as a reason to play it, but you can Mystic Mine your opponent and Purgatrio them to death, and it's insane. This card should not be in the game, but since they're going to keep it in the game, we're going to play it. So this card is way better in this particular build because you don't have a lot of monsters, so basically you're just Mystic Mining them, Purgatrioing them, and the game is basically over at that point. So this card is just asinine, but we have to play it. And then the 1-ups, my favorite, you already know, Mind Control, rest in peace. The 1 Terraforming, and we do play, along with that, the 1 set rotation. Might as well play them all. Being able to get to your field spells is important, so that's it. That's the main deck. It's 40 cards even. The list is very consistent. It's really good at what it does. I don't like playing the Mystic Mine out, but sometimes you have to do it in order to win games that you normally wouldn't have won. So That's it for the main deck, 40 cards. Extra deck real quick, very standard. So double Macabre, 3 never comes up. You do play 2 Purgatrio in this build because you are trying to Purgatrio kill them under Mystic Mind, so it's really important. We play the 1 Caliga, obviously card's really good. The 1 Elysium, because the games can go longer and this card can be a total blowout. And the new addition is the new Invoked, how do you even pronounce that? Agadius or something, whatever. The new light guy. Card's really good. Whenever it's special summon or monster special summon, it pops a card. Really good. I really like this card a lot. In the grind game, this card's really good. You can also banish a card and make it huge, so this card is fantastic. Really good addition to the Invoked engine. I was very surprised it was a super rare. A lot of people underestimate this card, but it's very, very good, especially in this deck. And then just the usual suspects of Almirage and Secure Gardener. That's your 1 card Macabre play. Along with Cross Sheep, easily one of the best cards in the deck. Just helps you link climb for game. Mad Invoker, that's standard. You play it in every Alistair deck. And then I went back and forth of what my 15th card was going to be. Eventually, I decided on Cerebus. So you can play Invoked Coitus. You can play Invoked Raijin if you want. You can play Borreload. You can play, you can play whatever you want. People have said you can play Access Code Talker in this deck. I just haven't tested it, but I decided on Cerebus. I just wanted something generic. Like, this is literally the flex spot in the deck, like, to be honest with you guys, because the rest of the cards are standard. Unicorn, Phoenix, Unicorn, and Boral Sword. These are all standard. This was the card that kind of just stood out. I wasn't sure, like, what I wanted to do with it, but overall, it ended up becoming that in the end. So you can play it any other way you want. These are all just utility cards. They're all just really good. Obviously, you go first. You make the turn 1 Macabre. And you have other options as well. And the rest of these Invoke monsters are the way you play your deck. But that's it, you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Pure Invoked for the June 2020 format. For a lot of people that just don't know, you can play the deck with just a bunch of hand traps and just your Alistair and Friends engine. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to purchase any of these cards, consider using my TCG player link. It's in the description below. It costs you nothing in return, and it goes back to the channel. It helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. I really like this deck. I think a lot of people do not give it enough credit. I think it's something that should definitely be on people's radar. Anything with a ton of hand traps can do well against a bunch of wombo combo decks in a format. It's been done in Spiral format before, and it'll continue to be done in these insane formats. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on Pure Invoked this format. Obviously, you can play Invoke Meknet, you can play whatever, but this is just Alistair and Friends deck with all the hand traps in the world. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.